Hi, this is Lauren Olson, Zero Waste Manager at World Centric. Just wanted to wish everyone a happy Earth Day. And we'll be joined by Scrap Smile High. We'll be talking about composting today. On Earth Day, 50th anniversary of Earth Day today.
Hey there,
Hi.
Lauren.
Hi, and you're Charlie?
I'm Charlie.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having
Yeah,
me.
today marks the 50th anniversary of Earth Day.
Yeah,
So, in honor of that, we'll be speaking with thought leaders such as yourself all week long. Our goal is to promote the idea of Earth Day every day, not just April 22nd.
absolutely.
So, we'll be talking with you, Charlie Harrold, the Director of Membership and Scraps and Compost Service in Denver, Colorado.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm really excited to be here. Do you want me to start off by just talking a little bit about scraps and what we do?
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, why don't you explain what Scrap Smile High is?
Great. So Scraps is a compost pickup service based in Denver. It started back in 2017 by the founder, Christy Turner, who is also the CEO, who was living in an apartment at the time, like most people in Denver do and other cities. And she was very frustrated by the fact that she could not find a way to compost because
Hmm.
the city of Denver does have a composting program, but unfortunately it's very limited. And so if you live in an apartment, you're not eligible. If you run a restaurant, you're not eligible. If you work in any other type of business, you're not eligible. So that's where Scraps comes in. We're kind of giving people the opportunity to compost who otherwise wouldn't be able to do it through the city of Denver. And it started off as a bike powered program that was just supposed to service apartments. So we have these
Hmm.
like three-wheeled bikes. You may have seen those pedicabs, like those big
Hmm.
three-wheeled bikes where like two people sit in the back. So it's kind of that same model, except there's just a big trailer in the back where we can fit up to 600 pounds of compost at a time.
Wow.
Yeah. Um,
That's a lot of compost.
yeah. I think it maxes out at about 635 and then it's like too much weight. But so what sort of happened was then it was just for apartments at first, and then all these other businesses, restaurants, big offices, things like that, decided that they wanted to compost, and we were like, oh, okay. So we kind of had to adjust our business model a little bit to accommodate to that level of volume. And it's actually been working out really well. And now we have collected over 600,000 pounds of compost in the city of Denver. And we have just about,
Wow.
well, we did have about 600 customers. Things are a little iffy right now because of COVID-19. We have had to lose some people, but hopefully once this
Hmm.
is all over, we'll get everyone back. Um, and yeah, it's going really well. It's great. And then also, Scraps really wants to be involved in the education process that comes with composting. So not only do we collect your compost or your scraps, but we also just really want to teach people about composting and why it's so important, and why waste diversion is like so important, especially now in the climate crisis that we're in.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you noticed an increase in demand for the finished compost?
No, see that's actually a pretty good segue, because we're just a hauler. We're like the
Okay.
So what we do with our compost is we send it to a commercial facility here in Colorado called A1 Organics, and they actually do the composting process, and then they sell the finished product at the end. So it kind of comes around full circle. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Awesome.
so it's great. Um, we love A1
Hmm.
Organics. They are a fantastic company. They've been kind of leading the way in composting here in Colorado since the 70s. So super excited to be partnering with them. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Do you want to just explain a little bit to people like why composting is so important?
I would love to. Goodness, where to begin? Because the benefits of composting are just so endless. Well, first and foremost, it reduces our carbon footprint. When you send food, when you throw food in the garbage, you send it to a landfill where it produces methane, which is a very powerful greenhouse gas. And then when you actually compost your food during the composting process, CO2 or carbon dioxide is actually pulled out of the atmosphere. So when you compost, you are reducing the production of both methane and carbon dioxide. So so that's great. And then also composting helps us save water because the carbon in the compost, which we'll talk about later, the different components of carbon and nitrogen, that
Mhm.
actually retains water and keeps it nice and moist so you can water your plants less. And then also it's great for the local economy because the composting and recycling industry employs 5 times more people than the landfill industry does. So that's great. So much more. And then obviously our landfills are just exhausted and they're so compacted, and it's a huge problem. And a lot of our trash is being dumped in the ocean every single minute. So if we were to all compost our waste, this number is based off the city of Denver, but we found that in the average Denver resident trash can, 50% of what's in that trash can could actually be composted, and then only 25% of it was actually trash, which means the other 25% was recycling. So 25% trash. And the good news there is that there is so much room for improvement. There's so much hope. The question is, are we actually going to do something about it? And that's what Scraps really hopes to do, is to show people that composting is easy and it's cool and it's fun and it really helps the local environment as well as the planet.
Yeah, I mean, composting's benefit to local economies is really great because then the compost stays in the community as opposed to recycling, which oftentimes has to be shipped out, sometimes
Yep.
very far distances.
Yeah.
So, composting really keeps it local because it's able to regenerate local farms and
Exactly.
people's gardens and things like that.
Yeah, that's a really fantastic point. Yeah, and I think just speaking nationally, I think that the national diversion rate is about 34.7%. So
Hmm.
it's still pretty low. It's just about a third, and it's actually been like that for the last decade. So it's really strange
Yeah.
how we've been kind of stuck. And it's so great that there's so many sustainable companies out there trying to do something about it, and we're really proud to be a part of that mission.
Yeah, so I think you said something like half of our waste that we generate, at least in
At least
Denver, could
Denver.
be composted.
Yeah,
And I think national rates are somewhere around like 40%. So
I
it's
would
like,
agree.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, fairly close. Um, what items might people be surprised that are actually compostable that they might not think about? Like we all know, I just did a little video about this morning, so I just happen to have, your food
Yeah.
scraps, and then,
Yeah.
and then like you want your, do you also collect yard waste
We do.
at scraps?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we do.
yeah.
So I just want to specify that there's um, commercial composting or industrial composting, and then there's backyard
Hmm.
composting,
Yeah.
and they're very different. So backyard composting is great, but unfortunately, it's pretty limited. But we take everything, as I said, to A1 Organics, which is a commercial facility. So they can take so much more because they have the technology and the machinery to, you know, get it all to a certain temperature and break it all down at the same time. Whereas that like wouldn't happen just sitting in a backyard pile. Anyway, so we are able to accept so much, like meat and dairy and bones and compostable to-go products, which is what World Centric sells. And
Yeah.
actually, I don't know if you know this, but we actually partner with you guys pretty closely. We use your 33-gallon bags and your 55-gallon bags, and we use your cups and your bowls, and we use all your
Awesome.
yeah. So we love you guys. So like shout out to you. Yeah, we use your larger bags for our more kind of office-based customers, anyone who needs like a larger collection bin, like between 16 and 23 gallons. And then we use your 55-gallon bags when we do like our zero waste events. So yeah, cool, awesome.
Yeah, our bags are really great. They're made out of all compostable plastic, and
Yeah,
this is like the little one for your small
yeah.
container.
Is that about five?
But yeah, and cornstarch, and they're
Exactly.
so nice and to keep things clean, but also compost,
Yeah,
so you don't have to like
yeah,
sacrifice that.
yeah. So we can accept all of those things. So let's say that you go to a Chipotle, that like little brown bowl that the food
Hmm.
comes in, that is 100% compostable. We can accept that. And also, paper towels are compostable. They are not recyclable. And it turns out that a lot of people think that they're recyclable and they're not. They are 100% compostable though. Tissues, napkins, hair, pet hair, fur, feathers, anything like that. Um, wood, we any type of like Q-tip or wine cork, as long as it's wooden, because some of them are laced with plastic. Unfortunately, plastic is like
Yeah.
everywhere. That's like a whole different conversation trying to figure out if something contains plastic or not, because it's just in everything. Um,
Yeah.
and you have to be
Yeah, we just had a comment about pizza boxes, and
yes,
that's something that people might not know about. Those are compostable.
100%. Because actually, when a pizza box is like really greasy like that, which most are, you can't recycle it. It's stained, and it would be
Hmm.
considered a contaminant in the paper family. Um, so yeah, definitely pizza boxes. Um, we can't take any type of pet waste. We don't have the technology for that, but I do know that San Francisco does. They are leading the way. They are at an 80% diversion rate. So we want to follow in their footsteps. Denver is only at 23%. Um, Colorado is actually one of it's the third most wasteful state in the country. I think that Coloradans produce about 9.6 pounds of trash per day, whereas the national average is 4.5 pounds, which is
Oh, wow.
which is still a lot
Yeah.
every day. But that does, you know, include everything like food and recyclables as well. Anything that's going to the landfill, which otherwise shouldn't, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. Um, so yeah. What? Yeah, I think that's about that's about.
Oh, so why is the shift to compostable packaging an important part of attaining like a zero waste future?
Well, there's the obvious in that we are going to drown in our own trash if we don't do something soon. Plastic in particular. Um, Obviously, plastic is made from gas and oil, whereas compostable packaging comes from plant-based recycled products. So it's a natural resource. It's going to break down. It can be composted, etc. So um, yeah, I really try and just reduce my use of plastic on a daily basis.
Hmm.
I don't want to get too preachy, but like plastic is just the worst. It's just the I think that even when you do recycle your plastic, best case, it can only be recycled twice, whereas glass and metal are infinitely recyclable, and then cardboard can be recycled like 7 times, I think. And then after that, they turn it into paper towels and napkins and stuff like that. So, yeah, plastic is just tough.
Yeah. Do you have any other tips about how someone can, who's very concerned about their waste might be able to like start composting at home even if they don't have a yard?
Sure. So, so like I said, we obviously, but I don't have like a backyard
Hmm.
compost pile. Like I just keep track of my compost and then I dispose of it in the proper bin. But I do know that for backyard composting, really, um, it's like all about having that balance between carbon and nitrogen and having um, it's actually supposed to be more carbon than
Hmm.
nitrogen. But carbon is your brown, nitrogen is your green. There are so many resources for this online. There's even like YouTube videos for like how to start your own compost garden. Home composting isn't necessarily my area of expertise. However, there are some people on my team who are like experts at it. So if anyone
Hmm.
listening does have questions about that, like feel free to send us an email, check out our website, and we'd be happy to answer any questions about that.
But Scraps Mile High was really born out of the need for people to not have to worry about home composting and to be able to
Right.
compost a wide variety of products
Exactly.
or materials and not have to have the space. Like that's
Sure.
the main emphasis, right?
Yeah, with like
Yeah.
the type of composting we do, you like wouldn't have to worry about your ratio between carbon and like nitrogen because they um at the facility they have all the means to kind of work out different formulas and like things like that. So we don't have to really. So you as the composter don't have to like worry about that with us.
Well, anything else that you wanted to talk about?
No, I mean, if there's anything else that you think that I should touch more on, that'd be great. But no, I think that's about it.
All right, well, great. Well, we're hosting talks like this all week, so hopefully you can tune in or others on here as
Yeah,
part of our Eco-Social Live series for Earth Week. So join us back here this afternoon at 12 p.m., 12 noon Pacific time or 3 p.m. Eastern time.
yeah.
And Mark Marinozzi, our VP of Marketing, will talk with Danny O'Malley, the founder of Before the Butcher,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're the environmental benefits of adopting a plant-based diet.
I love that. Yes, I did get your little schedule, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what other people have to say with what kind of sustainable practices they're doing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Charlie. It
Thank
was great to talk
you.
with you.
I really appreciate your time and thank you for having me. And yeah, have a
Yeah.
wonderful
Happy
Earth
Earth Day,
Day.
everyone.
Yeah.